President Trump's job approval numbers have taken a hit this month. The president's approval rating fell to a new low in the Fox News poll, just 38% approve, down 4 points since September. Trump's disapproval rating hit a new high of 57%. Trump has also seen a dip among his core supporters. There's been an 8-point drop among white evangelical voters. He's also down 8 points among whites without a college degree, and 6-point drop among another 3 groups: conservatives, men, and white voters. Joe, stop me whenever you want to. Still,
I'll actually stop right now, and we'll go to Kristen. Kristen, Kristen, you do polls all the time. Again, Trump voters still support him about 87%. Republicans still support him for the most part. 8 out of 10 Republicans still support him. These numbers are still holding. But, man, is he bleeding independents. And, of course, this is a low for a Fox News poll. He was at 32% in a poll earlier this month. Gallup, they usually have him around 36, 37, 38. The base is holding, but he's losing everybody else, isn't he?
I think people are looking for, where's a win? You told us there was going to be all this winning. Where is the win? And for the most part, Trump's own voters don't hold him responsible for that. They look at Capitol Hill. They look at Democrats. They look at congressional leaders. They say, this is what's causing the winning to have not happened in the way we were promised. But voters who were not Trump voters, but maybe were willing to give him the benefit of the doubt, maybe didn't participate in the last election, but are observers of politics, they are now wondering, where are the wins? And so that's why I think this tax reform question is so interesting, because it's a chance to get something through Congress. It's a chance to find an issue that Republicans are fairly unified on. It could give the president that kind of a win, and yet from my vantage point, it doesn't seem as though the president is as focused on that as he is on, say, a fight with a Gold Star family and things like that. And I think that's what you're seeing in these numbers. Voters saying, where's the win?
And of course, that is so critical, Willie, for the president to be focused if he wants to pass tax reform. He thinks it's going to be as easy as the donors want tax reform, so give us tax reform. But again, as Bob Corker is going to be telling us when he comes on the show, and other senators that I've been talking to have been saying, they're trying to close loopholes, like trillions of dollars in loopholes. K Street is going to swarm all over this place. And you're going to even have Republicans' knees buckling. This is, as he said, this is going to be tough. You need a president that is focused nonstop, that's bringing people in, that's explaining not just bringing them and going, you're beautiful, you're great, this is the greatest bill ever, but explaining, hey, listen, this is going to be tough, but this is what you can tell your constituents. If we pass this tax reform, X, Y, and Z is going to happen. He was never able to do that on health care reform. Any reason to believe he's going to be able to do it on tax reform?
Well, no, and he made that promise again last night, reportedly to a group of donors on his trip, where he said, we are going to get tax reform by the end of the year. He's got to have tax reform. He's got to have something on the board at the end of his first year. He can go back to Gorsuch. That was a big win, driven largely by Mitch McConnell, of course. He can talk about the strength of the economy. We can dispute some of those numbers, Harold, but he and Senate Republicans, and the reason a lot of them haven't crossed him in a way that Bob Corker and Jeff Flake and John McCain have, is because they also need something to go back to their voters and their constituents with and say, look, you voted us in to do tax reform, we're doing it. Otherwise, they don't have much to show either. It's not just the president.
Look, I would agree with all you said. There's a long tradition in politics of campaigning one way and governing another. And to a large extent, both of the parties, but the Republicans, it's manifesting itself in the biggest and most pervasive way, are struggling with it. Jeff Flake, who is a friend I served with in the Congress, Bob Corker, who defeated me for the United States Senate almost 12 years ago, they both campaign in ways in which they're now not governing. And you now have a group of Republicans who they've campaigned with a message on anti-immigration, anti-this, anti-that. And that group of people now wants to see Republicans deliver on these things. And they arrive there and they want to govern differently. Democrats have a little bit of it on their side as well. Obama wanted to close Guantanamo Bay and do some things and ultimately did not, and there were voters, Democrats, that were upset. Right. So you have this collision of realities, campaigning and governing. Joe and I understand this as well as any, but at the level we're talking about here with this president, he's confronting it. But now you have these U.S. senators who are now having conscious calls, saying, I can't live up to, or better yet, live down to the way that I campaigned 4, 8, 12, 16 years ago. So when these realities collide, this is what you get. And hopefully it signals that there's going to be an upending of the way parties operate, and there's going to be more adherence to the way you campaign, which may make campaigning more honest going forward. That's what I hope comes out of this ultimately.
Thanks for checking out MSNBC on YouTube, and make sure you subscribe to stay up to date on the day's biggest stories. And you can click on any of the videos around us to watch more from Morning Joe and MSNBC. Thanks so much for watching.